This video reviews 10 simple steps to making your own melt and pour soap. The first step is getting your supplies. You're going to need some glycerin, some scent, some coloring, some molds, and some decorative things that you want to add. Here I've added beads, coffee beans, oatmeal, and some sparkles. Your next step is cutting the glycerin. Pop the glycerin out of the box and then just use a knife to cut off the chunk that you want to use. You need a chunk that's pretty much the same size as the piece of soap you want to make, so you can kind of guess there. You cut the soap into chunks and then you're going to microwave it. I would place the glycerin in the microwave for about 30 seconds and give it a stir. Then keep putting it back in the microwave for about 10-second intervals until it's completely melted. After it's melted, you can add your scent. This is pretty much, you add however much you want, depending on how strong you want the scent of the soap to be. You don't need very much though. The next step is adding your coloring. I used regular food dye as a way to cut costs and I found it worked great. There are special soap coloring dyes out there that you can buy though. Your next step is adding your decorations, so whether it's glitter or beads or anything that you want to add, this is when you do it. Step 7 is pouring the soap into the mold. One way that you can layer soap is to pour soap into the mold and then let it harden before adding another layer of another color. You can also add different things like oatmeal or beads or coffee beans in between the layers to give it a cool look or a unique texture. Step is to let your soap harden. If you want it to harden faster, like if you want to do more than one layer, I'd recommend putting it in the fridge. Also, if you put it in the fridge, it is a lot easier to pop the soap out of the molds later on. Once the soap is hardened, you'll be able to pop it out fairly easy, so you just put pressure on the top of the mold and it should release itself from the mold fairly easily. Next, you want to wrap your soap. So I just used saran wrap, and after I wrapped them in saran wrap, I stored them in plastic containers. You can also get decorative boxes or other decorative things to store them, depending on whether you're using them as gifts or whether it's for personal use or what you want to use them for. Made your very first homemade soap. These are some examples of what it could look like. Everyone's soap is going to be unique, and that's the great thing about homemade soap making. Here are some of the soaps I made, and good luck in your soap making.